Hello, and welcome to our newest video. Today's topic is our Impale cast on crit reap champion build. Impale is a very powerful mechanic dedicated to the physical damage type. It stores 10% of each of your hits to deal it again as the reflected damage the next time you hit the impaled enemy again, and by default, it can have up to 5 stacks on each foe. For the longest time, it was really available only for attacks, but with the addition of new unique gloves, Entropic Devastation, you can benefit from it on spells as well. With them, your spell critical strikes will inflict impales with up to 50% increased effect. Since you need to invest a lot into critical strike chance, we decided to pair it up with cast on critical strike setup for the natural synergy. That way, you can focus on your critical strike without worrying about cast speed, and easily get a much better outcome. There are many ways to make this setup, but in this case, we decided to use bows. The biggest advantages of them are access to a 7-link setup, usage of quiver with valuable modifiers, secondary and fully automatic setup with Azimuth's mark, and obviously staying at a safe distance. Reap deals very high physical damage in a rather small area of effect, and deals more damage per blood charge which you get if you don't kill an enemy with your hit, which works very well against bosses. It can also be used with Spell Cascade for a powerful overlapping effect. As a champion, you have easy access to Fortify and powerful aura effects. Thanks to Grace and Determination, most attacks won't be a threat, while capped spell suppression takes care of any incoming spell damage. You will also recover a quarter of your maximum life when you reach low life status. Clear speed is quite good but limited by the small radius of reap and slight delay resulting from triggering projectile fall. Damage versus single target is very good but highly dependent on spell cascade, as it can triple your total damage output. To get good results with this build, you will have to acquire some powerful and expensive items. It could work without them, but it won't feel as smooth as it should. There are a few important unique items with a moderate price tag for this build. You should have no problem acquiring them. Items like a Thread of Hope are obviously nice to have, but not necessary to get this build going. With Azimuth's mark, when you use any bow attack, you will automatically cast socketed spells. It also improves your spell damage and attack speed. Entropic Devastation is a core item for this build's concept. You critical strikes with spells will inflict impale with up to 50% increased effectiveness. You can get useful corrupted implicits such as critical strike chance or curse on hit, but it's not mandatory. This amazing amulet lets you fit in another aura while also improving your damage. Crafting a rare amulet with a similar power level is simply not cost efficient. This unique ring provides absurd amounts of damage with proper herald modifiers. You can also get very useful synthesized implicits. However, it's hard to cap your resistances or attributes while using 2 of them. With this jewel, you will be able to allocate some very powerful notables without wasting points on travel nodes. Try to get the lowest resistance penalty and make sure to get the correct ring size. You can greatly enhance the effect of your impales with the relevant modifier here. You can pair it with many other useful modifiers since you use a lot of auras. Duelist is full of good options for this combo. Most notably, Headsman gives you access to a powerful 20% culling strike. You can also use the Overwhelm notable if your bow lacks base critical strike chance. You will need a lot of intelligence on your gear to fulfill your gem requirements. Defensively, you should focus on spell suppression chance, capping elemental resistances, and getting as much life and life regeneration as you can. You can use Rare Helmet for a more defensive setup. You are able to get a lot of mana reservation efficiency here, and back it up with spell suppression, life, or resistances. Shaper-influenced bows are able to get cast on critical strike support gem built in as a rare modifier, which effectively serves as a 7-link setup. Spine bow is the optimal base due to its balanced attack speed and critical strike chance. Pair it with essence-crafted spell damage, bonus gem levels, or critical strike modifiers for excellent results. Your quiver should be used to improve your critical strike chance with attacks, accuracy rating, or attack speed. You can also obtain frenzy charge generation here. The remaining modifiers should be focused on life and resistances. Boots for this build have a very high potential depending on your budget. You can use regular modifiers such as life or movement speed and add some cooldowns and action speed with Eldritch implicits, or get very expensive influenced boots with much more advanced modifiers that improve your overall speed. Cooldown recovery rate is a very valuable modifier to improve your trigger rate. Aside from that, try to get as many life-related and resistance modifiers here. You can also improve your flask sustain with various stats. If you use Stygian Vice as a base for your belt, you can use Abyss Jewel to get additional stats such as life or resistances. It's also a great place to get protection against various ailments with either Jewel's implicits or regular modifiers. You can choose the offensive option and grab Hunter influenced modifiers such as additional critical strike chance or additional curse here, or opt for more defenses with increased aura effect and reservation efficiency. Regardless of your choice, you should also get some maximum life, resistances, or spell suppression here. On your rare ring, try to get lacking resistances and attributes, while also getting maximum life. You can also craft reduced mana costs. If you have sources of additional curses, such as on your body armor, you can get vulnerability on hit here. Additional levels for your physical spell gems, life, and resistances are good enough for most content in the game. You will need more mana reservation efficiency elsewhere to fit in all auras. You should have increased life on each rare jewel. Use remaining modifiers to get lacking resistances or attributes. You can get some mana reservation efficiency here too. Large cluster jewels are your biggest sources of increased physical damage modifier. Try to get ones with 8 additional passives to not waste any points. You can get a lot of critical strike chance for both your attacks and spells here. You will also get a lot of damage or critical strike multiplier on top of that. Bottled Faith provides a significant boost to your damage against a single target. You should aim to cap your critical strike chance without it for smoother gameplay. As for your remaining magic flasks, we recommend using Life Flask with bleeding removal, Diamond Flask with an increased critical strike chance modifier, Granite Flask with an increased armor rating modifier, and Quicksilver Flask with an increased movement speed modifier. Reap creates a bloody scythe that deals heavy physical damage around the targeted area. On every hit, you gain blood charges which improve your damage until you kill again. Blast Rain fires 5 arrows that continuously fall in the small area, hitting the same target many times, which can lead to multiple casts of Reap per single attack. Optionally, swap it with Rain of Arrows for better map clear. Using a bow with a cast on critical strike support gem allows you to use one more support gem than usual. Spell Cascade is a very powerful way to improve both your clear speed and single target damage. Even the non-awakened version is good enough. Exsanguinate fires bloody tendrils at nearby enemies, dealing physical damage and applying the damage over time effect. With the Azimuth's Mark, you will cast this spell every time you use a bow skill. You can change one gem here for Life Leech support to improve your survivability significantly. Grace is a defensive aura that provides an amazing amount of flat evasion rating and a more multiplier on top of that. Determination works the same as Grace, but for armor rating. You can use the divergent quality to gain an extra bit of armor from your evasion rating. Pride aura actually doesn't affect you, but your enemies instead. It increases the physical damage they take when you stand close to them. Dealing damage summons Sentinels of Purity to aid you, but more importantly, this Herald increases your overall physical damage dealt. War Banner improves your accuracy rating and increases the damage you deal to nearby enemies. It doesn't have to be linked with Enlightened support since your Ascendancy makes it free anyway. All those auras except for the War Banner should be linked with Enlightened support to decrease their mana reservation. With high level of this support, you don't need to take as many mana reservation efficiency modifiers elsewhere. Vitality provides a lot of life regeneration. High gem levels require a lot of reservation, but you really need that regen to sustain your spell casts. Precision grants accuracy rating and critical strike chance. Try to keep it at a low gem level, just enough to get 100% hit chance with your attacks. Those auras should be linked with arrogance. It will reserve a small amount of your maximum life instead of mana but significantly improve their effectiveness. Assassin's Mark improves your critical strike chance and damage against marked enemies. It will also generate power charges for you. Flame Dash is your main movement skill which teleports you in a short distance, allowing you to dodge attacks and cross terrain gaps. Mark on hit support will reduce its effect but automate it on every rare and unique enemy. With Life Tap, you won't have to worry about getting enough mana. Molten Shell grants bonus armor and absorbs a high amount of damage during its duration. You can automate it by binding it to your left click. Kill all bandits to get rewarded with bonus passive skill points by Aramir. Helping Alira for an early game boost is also okay, but should be changed at later stages of the game. Soul of the Brine King as your major Pantheon power is a quite good choice just for the immunity to freeze and reduction of chill effect on you. If you have other sources of that, you can pick any other Pantheon to your liking. Minor Pantheon power is pretty flexible, but we recommend Soul of Shikari the most. Getting chaos resistances is quite hard, and this Pantheon greatly helps with damage over time of that type. The final tree for this build is unfortunately not really suited for leveling. Most of your damage comes from cluster jewels, while the tree focuses on auras and defenses. We suggest leveling with other skill, such as splitting steel and taking a few close-by notables that would suit that play style. As a duelist you have easy access to many generic attack nodes. Getting spell suppression is a great help during the campaign. Obviously, you won't reach 100% without additional modifiers on your rare gear, but every bit matters. Although your attacks deal relatively low damage, one small passive with life and mana leech is enough to sustain your mana and help a bit with life sustain. Travel nodes provide a lot of dexterity and strength, but little to no intelligence. Champion Ascendancy grants you permanent fortify otherwise not obtainable on bow character alongside immunity to stun and some attack speed bonus. It also provides powerful aura boosts and a source of adrenaline and some life recovery in crisis situations. Thank you for watching this video, we hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments, we are happy to answer them. Stay safe, and see you in the next video.